Chapter 7 Father, Son, and the Mourning Dove. Mika. Mika stood outside his son's room, early May. Ooh-ah, coo, ooh, ooh. Ooh-ah, coo, ooh, ooh. The song of a mourning dove mystified the air. Mika waited, absorbed in the sound, its secret and depth. Ready or not? To knock? Not yet. Almost. He looked at the door. It needed refinishing. Some of the joints had separated. Opened. The joinery, not the door. Not yet. Almost. 4-panel construction, built by his father Merlin, who had never ever built a door before. But he had all the tools and plenty of time at night after his wife, Mika's mother, had died. Mostly Merlin wanted to contribute something to the new house, so he designed 3 interior doors, one for each bedroom, and made them in his wife's defunct pottery studio. He called his creations Doors of Opportunity. Looking at the wood, the grain, the separation of the joinery, Mika remembered. His father had built each door from red oak, which April May especially loved, and which Mika knew to be a willful species, a tree of the world, a durable wood, and a provider. The oak's tap root reaches deep into the earth, establishing a stronghold wherever the tree grows. Its far-reaching foliage provides a habitat for birds, mammals, and insects alike. And then there are the acorns by the thousands to be eaten as needed. A very caring and nurturing tree, which is what Mika liked most. Thanks, Dad, he thought. You too, oak. What a nice gift. And then he knocked. The mumble he heard sounded agreeable, so Mika opened the door and stepped into the room. May I come in? You already are. He made his way, increasing his presence. One of the windows was open to allow access for cool air and the coos of doves. I know this has been hard. What's hard? These weeks since Theo? Oliver said nothing. I've heard you, said Mika, trying to work it through. It's only natural. I don't know what you've been hearing. Mika sat on the edge of the bed, which was a mess. Oliver sat in his chair at the desk, half facing his father, half turned away. I've got homework. Okay. So, are you going? Not yet. Mika remained on the bed, putting down roots, not so deep as an oak tree, but enough to support a growing conversation. What is it? He asked his son. What's what? Your homework. People are so stupid, I don't get it. So you're studying human stupidity. I remember some of that. The narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, said Oliver. Slavery, Garrison, Lincoln, the Civil War, Reconstruction. John Brown? Pascal Randolph? Who? The abolitionists, said Mika. Why is it so hard to know that you can't own somebody? Well, people have to learn, said Mika. Learn what's to learn? Just don't do it. Don't go out of your way and make things hard for others. Right. Stay in your own way and be a good human being. Oliver sighed, clarifying. Well, not in your own way, but I don't mean not standing, not just, I know what you're saying, soothed Mika. The job of people is to support one another. Anything we do to tear each other down weakens us all. we go out of our human way. Frederick Douglass was a person, a human being, said Oliver, making his own point clear. Even Garrison didn't really treat him like that. He used him. I mean, we're all just people. King was, you are, Mama, Granddad, Miss Dawson, Mr. Niski, Hank Aaron. You can name us all. I'm not naming, I'm just saying. The world isn't a problem. It doesn't have to be a problem. But they see it like it is. Who does? Whoever does, said Oliver. It's prejudice you're having a problem with, said Mika. No, it's not being able to be yourself, corrected Oliver. Not being able to be who you are, all because someone else decides you can't. Well, no one can make that decision, said Mika. Exactly. But doesn't matter, does it? They do it anyway. Then they don't know what they're doing. And that's supposed to make it all right? No. Just because they don't know? Because they just can't think? Just no. It's not all right, said Mika. But I haven't met anyone who doesn't struggle with understanding somewhere along the line. But this is easy. Well, for you, maybe, said Mika. Seems like you're excusing what they do. No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I don't know why it's not innate for people to be nice to each other. But it isn't. Maybe we all have to learn not to hate. We have to learn not to hate what we think is less important than us. Otherwise, if we don't learn and grow, then why did we even bother to be born on Earth? You know, I think it's interesting that a tree's not prejudice. A tree doesn't have to do the work. But we do. We have to do it. We have to make an effort to see the bigger picture. Oliver thought about this. What's so difficult to see? How life on Earth is a mutual and beautiful opportunity that we each have a right to? Oliver kept quiet, and his father continued. We have to keep opening our eyes, said Mika. Like I said, a tree doesn't have to do that, but a person can go through life with blinders on. People are free to be open or not. You can welcome the world more each day, or you can say, no, I'm okay with what I know. Don't need any more. Me, I can't do that. For me, my eyes are wider today than yesterday. I'm not talking about you. I know, said Mika. His son had always been one for fairness. If Oliver left a few peas on his plate, he had to also leave a dollop of mashed potatoes just to keep things even. Though, thinking about it, maybe it was for the added company. Peas, all by themselves, only know about pea things. No one wants to be a pea in a pea world alone. You can learn a lot from other foods. You can learn a lot from others, Mika began, adding, no one wants to feel small and less than. No one is less than. You know the less than symbol in math? Mika drew the sideways V in the air. If you are on the left side of that, it's got to be terrible. That's what some people feel like. A terrible place to be. But it's how things are for so many. The caste system, awful, apartheid. It's what slavery was all about. And it's not difficult to imagine. That's the thing. We can all imagine how we would feel if you were less than everyone in your class, all because of your eye color, skin color, your sex, your height. If you are less than, you feel terrible. Easy. And if everyone took it to heart, what it is to be less than, and have no power over that terrible untruth, well, that right there would make for better understanding. and that would make for a different world. Oliver said nothing. May 3rd, the song of the Mourning Dove. Ooh-ah, coo, ooh, ooh. Ooh-ah, coo, ooh, ooh. Once again, the melancholic song visited the room through the open window. Mika liked the sorrowful notes. He waited for his son to respond. He knew Oliver agreed. Really not that hard to see. If I'm nothing in your eyes, thought Mika, then you belittle yourself, too. It's a moral law. What you do to another, you do to yourself. I cannot be nothing, and you be everything. That's a more fair world, said Oliver, cutting in before his father had finished his internal monologue. It would make the world a fairer place, but what if you do it to yourself? I mean, what if you put yourself on the left side, and you say that you're less than, and everything else is greater? It's still selfish, said Mika. How is it selfish if you don't even care about yourself? Well, you've got to care about yourself, said Mika. There's something that only you can do to help our world. If you don't care about yourself, you don't care about that. Oliver still had an argument to make. But what if you're on one side of the equation and everything on the other side tells you that you can't make any difference? Sorry, don't have what it takes, says the right side of the equation. You can't. That's just how it is. It's how it is for you. Well, what if that's all you hear? What if that's the law of you? Maybe we each have our own law that we have to live by. And who says it has to be a good law? If it's bad, it's just the way of things. So maybe it's why you kill yourself, to change that way and to break the law, to show them that you can do something after all. Mika nodded. He stood and went to his son, put his hand on his shoulder. Theo was overwhelmed, he said. You were like the best thing for him. But you can't save everyone. I wasn't trying to save him. But he was your uncle. More than that, he was your friend. He needed to be patient. Maybe, agreed Mika. He must have felt it, whatever it was, coming again. He must have known he wouldn't be able to take it. But how'd he know that? I've asked him. He has nothing to say. Nothing. Not. Why does he ask me for my help and have nothing to say? He asks you. What am I supposed to do now, said Oliver, if I can't help? I'm sorry, said his father, squatting beside his son. There's injustice in the world. You know that. That's what you're talking about. There's unfairness. It's part of the world. Like one day there's sun when you want rain, and the next day there's rain when you want sun. That's not injustice, said Oliver. It's just weather. I'm talking about how you feel about it, said Mika. Injustice isn't a feeling. No, it's treating one person one way and someone else a different way, which I guess isn't always injustice either. It might be human dynamics. What do you mean, dynamics? Well, just how things are between people. I'm one way with you, a different way with Mama and Cricket. But we have to find the agreement in each relationship, the justice. If we don't, someone suffers. One person should not get all the fresh bread, and another the moldy pieces. Oliver sighed. Maybe all injustice in the world actually makes sense, said Mika. If you look at the problem without judging, maybe you can understand why it is. How can you say that? Well, I don't mean it's good sense. I don't mean there's justification for injustice. I mean, well, are you able to recognize what's wrong? Easy, said Oliver. You're wrong if you think slavery is okay. Right, agreed Mika. There's no justification for slavery or abuse. None. Not ever. Still, people go out of their way to treat others badly. You don't ever see a tree do such a thing. Trees don't think about people, said Oliver. People should think better. They should admit when they're being stupid and wrong. Yes, said Mika. But even that's not enough. Just admitting you're stupid and wrong doesn't change anything. People do that all the time. But they don't necessarily become different. I don't know what you're saying. First, you have to know that the truth in any relationship is the equality of worth on both sides, said Mika. I and a willow tree, a black child, a white child, have equal worth in the relationship. You've got to then recognize any disagreement, any injustice in the relationship. You've got to be able to say, this mistreatment makes sense only because there's not an equal sign. There is a greater than, less than sign. One side has everything, and the other side, nothing. You've got to see that and say, that inequality is the problem. It is fundamentally wrong. Then, maybe, then you can fix it, right where it needs to be fixed. You can bring fairness to the equation, the equal sign. Humans can do that. Trees cannot. Everything's not about trees, you know. No, but let me tell you, trees go out of their way to help other trees, not hurt them. We should live more like trees. Live like trees. Mika liked that thought. He liked that he'd said it, too. The idea could help. But it wasn't all he had to say. Theo killed himself. That was terrible and sad. And when you think about it, you know that he did something wrong to himself. It's nothing to get mad at. If you figure out why it's not right, why there was a greater than, less than sign in his life, you can help to change it. Because that's the thing that needs to happen, right? It's still going on, and something needs to change. You mean people killing themselves? I mean Theo. He's still with you, even now. All day? Yes, said Oliver. You see, injustice is really just a feeling you have. Something is out of balance. That imbalance could be in the world or in yourself, but the point is the injustice is not the problem. The injustice is a reflection of something else that is a problem. Find that something else, fix it, and the injustice goes away. Do you know what I mean? Not really. Theo killing himself is not the problem, said Mika. Slavery is not the problem. The real problem is not knowing the worthiness of everything. When you don't know the worthiness of everything, you don't know how to relate to one another or even yourself. You don't know how to do this life. Doesn't seem all that hard to me. We're each of us different, Ollie. We come to Earth with our individual strengths and weaknesses, and then we meet others. The better we can embrace our own differences and the differences we encounter, the less injustice all around. Injustice disappears if we move according to the guidelines of life. Micah knew he'd made a mess of things. Oliver wasn't responding. Too many words. What is the worthiness of everything? And guidelines of life? What guidelines? Keep it simple, he thought. You talk sometimes to Uncle Theo, right? I guess, said Oliver. No. I mean, I like what you just said about worthiness. Thanks. But what guidelines? I was just rambling. Okay. Oliver was quiet a moment. I don't know what to say. About what? Asked Micah. I don't know what to say to Uncle Theo. So you do talk? Talk? I think it worries Tova, said Micah. You're a bit different to her since that day. There's nothing to worry about, Oscar assured. I know. It's just sometimes it's so frustrating. I have to get it out of my head. What's frustrating? He keeps asking if he is dead, said Oliver. Like he wants to be dead but isn't, or he doesn't want to be dead. I don't know. What do you tell him? I hear it inside. Sometimes I have to say something out because he's so close, like he's everywhere in the room, or maybe it's just everywhere in me. I imagine that's frightening, is it? Not to me, not really. But to him, that's what I don't like. Because he says he's lost. He doesn't say it, but I know he is. He doesn't know what's happening anymore. Is that what it's like when you die? I can see, but he can't. Is that why he comes to me? Used to be he'd tell me things he saw, like when he was alive, I mean. And some of those things weren't even there, like ghosts or orphans and whippoorwills. Whippoorwills. Like, he'd hear things when I was out with him. I didn't hear them. And that was okay, but I didn't think much about it then. But now, you don't have to understand it all, said Micah. I'd say you're a light to him. He says, if I'm dead, then how am I here? He says, if I'm dead, will I survive? It makes me sad, like seeing a crab in a bushel basket. It's got to live without any water, but how can it do that? It's not going to happen. It's like he's dying all over again. I don't know what to say. But you do say something. Sometimes. Sometimes I just go outside, said Oliver. I'm telling you, I'm never going to catch another crab again. I'm never going to kill a fly or an ant or anything. That's what I say. I don't know how you eat those things anyway, said Micah. Crabs are like spiders. But you're not afraid? What, of eating a crab? No, of Uncle Theo. What's to be afraid of? It's a ghost story. No, said Oliver. You think so? To Oliver, it was nothing to do with ghosts. Lots of people in your situation, they'd be very afraid. It's just Uncle Theo. I know, said Micah. There's something about you that works for him. Oliver thought about this. It was probably true. But now there was mostly something about Theo that did not work, that couldn't move, that had lost all sense of reality. Nothing's real, that's what he says, said Oliver. He says, it's all a lie. What lie? Whose lie? I don't know. It's what I was saying earlier, said Micah. There's injustice. Imagine living with injustice. It's like living without any love. You feel the injustice, the complete lack of love, and you know there's a problem. You feel it in every part of your being, the terrible wrongness of it. You want things to be different. You know they should be different, but sometimes, for whatever reason it is, you just can't make things different yourself. You need someone else to help you fight for justice and love. And yes, that is important. The help others give is necessary. But really, The cure is to see things from a new and larger perspective, to see it for yourself, to see that nothing, that no one, can take justice and love away from you, that they are fundamental to existence. We all have to live life with that in mind. But it's no easy thing. Sometimes I go for a ride on my bike, said Oliver. That helps. I didn't really mean you, said Mika. I meant Uncle Theo. He needs to do this. He's asking for your help. I don't know what to tell him. Mika thought about this. He said, how about a story? What story? You could tell him a story, his story. I don't know what you mean. A story is a way in. It helps you to know things better. Listen. The cedar tree grows out by the road, and the mourning dove sings in its branches, talking to his mate. Well, that's a very short story, but now you know what's going on with the bird and the song we keep hearing. So imagine Theo learning the earth for the first time. He doesn't seem to know anything. Well, that's why there are stories. Your story can be a mirror. People look in the mirror to know the first thing about themselves, to see that they are somebody. Of course they are somebody, said Oliver. Yes, but what if there's no mirror where Theo is? What if he's forgotten himself? He might need you to be the mirror so he can know that he really is someone. So tell him his story. Say it to him. Say his name. But he can't be someone now, can he? What do you mean? I mean, he's dead. He's not here anymore. I don't think that's true, said Mika. Do you? No, agreed Oliver. Besides, it doesn't matter where someone is. He needs to know someone is holding him in their thoughts. That makes sense, said Oliver. Maybe you are the guidelines. Oliver did not know how to be guidelines. By thinking about him, you're shining a light, added Mika. Everyone needs a light held up for them before they can be one for themselves. You've got to learn it from somewhere. Cricket used a nightlight till she was 8, said Oliver. I kept the whole house lit after Rosemary's Baby. Who? A movie, said Mika. I just wish that he'd be more patient, said Oliver. Patience is hard for everyone. Is that too much for you? Is what too much? Patience? No. You've got plenty of that. But you've also got homework, baseball, dishes to wash, and Tova's always bugging you for something. She doesn't bug me. She's easy. And I like washing dishes. He's got a good person to talk to, said Mika. Well, why not you? Why not Mama? Me? I don't know. My light's low wattage. I'm not much of a talker. You're talking now. Now's different, said Mika. But I don't have any stories to tell. You just told one about the mourning dove and the cedar tree. I've heard you tell stories, your hitchhiking days. Mika gave his son the thumbs up. I do have a good story about meeting Mama. I've heard it, said Oliver. I don't think Theo was very comfortable around me. Besides, I didn't much like his boat. Boats make me queasy. I liked his boat, said Oliver. You know, we sold it. That's okay. He doesn't need it. Mika nodded. It was easy for him to notice a different person emerging out of his son. Oliver's molted skin, his new, more sturdy self, and his son's internal struggle too. Mika did not want to add weight to the struggle. He did not want to dismiss the profundity of it either. A person dies and something is gone, thought Mika. Theo's not gone. and Oliver knows it. I don't know the reality of it like he does, but I think, why not? Why not that we continue? How interesting. Ooh-ah, coo, ooh, ooh, ooh-ah, coo, ooh, ooh. Mourning doves nested in the cedar tree out back. Mika had seen them. And there was another tree, too, a different kind of tree, much larger. There was a branch upon which Theo nested. Mika knew little of that branch. He had his own branch. Oliver had his. It was the whole tree of life, growing, branching, leafing on, doing its job to keep everyone here, part of life, included and necessary. There is something to the tree of life, thought Mika. Lots to discover. A bluebird somewhere among the branches, a crow with a family, a bigger picture. Mika knew this tree was hidden in the world, and he knew Oliver would find it. The tree, each bird, the whole family of life, the bigger picture. His son had just the right approach. It was walking with your eyes open that was needed. It was moving with your heart up ahead of yourself, leading the way. That's how to get on. That's how to be. There were many doors of opportunity up ahead for his son. So much to do and to learn for both his children. Honeybees to pay attention to, plant names to learn, May dandelions, forsythia, honeysuckle, and Providence. Which reminded Mika of something. Not the city where he'd gone to college, not Providence, Rhode Island, but Providence, the protective care he'd felt since he was young. It was a feeling that gave him a sense of well-being ever since he could remember. The feeling of life around him. Life as something more than the living world alone, more than a distinction between the organic and inorganic world, more than a matter of carbon. It was a story, life's biography of fundamental support. That's what he wanted to tell his son. And maybe he would, some other time. Mika closed the door quietly. He made his way from the room.